What if I told you that the breakfast you've been eating every morning faithfully, habitually, and without question is quietly sabotaging your health as a man? Not all at once, but slowly, invisibly, day after day. For over 30 years, I've sat across from men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s, men who once felt strong, confident, and intimately connected, now coming to me confused and defeated. Their hands gripped the arms of my chair, their voices low. "Doc, I just don't feel like myself anymore. My energy's shot. I can't perform the way I used to, and I don't know why." And more often than not, the real issue doesn't start in the bedroom. It starts at the breakfast table. I'm Dr. James Rowen, a board-certified urologist who has spent his career helping older men reclaim their vitality naturally, safely, and without relying on pills that treat symptoms instead of causes. Through decades of patient care and research, I've discovered a powerful yet overlooked truth. Your breakfast isn't just food, it's your hormonal foundation. What you eat in the morning sets the stage for your testosterone levels, your blood flow, your energy, your drive, and yes, your ability to have strong, lasting erections. But here's the problem. Most of what we've been told is healthy for breakfast is based on marketing, not biology. We've been sold a lie wrapped in bright cereal boxes, smiling orange juice commercials, and trendy fat-free labels. And the result? Widespread hormonal decline, silent vascular damage, and men losing their sexual identity not because they're old, but because they've been misinformed. But the good news is this: it's not too late. With a few simple shifts, you can turn the tide. I've seen men in their 60s and 70s transform their health, their confidence, and their intimate lives, starting with what's on their plate at 7 a.m. In this article, I'll reveal the 7 most dangerous breakfast foods that are quietly draining your testosterone, inflaming your arteries, and suffocating your sexual performance. More importantly, I'll give you better alternatives, real food solutions that nourish your manhood, not destroy it. So if you've been feeling off, don't write it off as aging. If your morning wood is gone, your drive is fading, and your confidence is slipping, don't settle. There's a reason, and we're going to uncover it. And before we dive in, I invite you to follow this channel for more honest, science-backed guidance for men over 60. No fluff, no gimmicks, just the truth you deserve, from a doctor who's walked this road with thousands of men like you. Let's begin, because your best mornings and your best years are still ahead. 1. Processed meats, the breakfast favorite that damages blood flow. Let's start with the sacred staple of many men's mornings: bacon and sausage. Crispy, savory, and satisfying, but also packed with dangerous compounds that sabotage your erections in silence. Processed meats like bacon, sausage, and ham are loaded with saturated fats, excess sodium, and most notably, nitrates. These chemical preservatives are used to extend shelf life and boost flavor, but they come at a significant cost: vascular inflammation. Erections are, in essence, a blood flow event. For blood to move efficiently to the penis, your blood vessels must be healthy, elastic, and capable of releasing nitric oxide, a key molecule responsible for dilation and engorgement. But processed meats attack this very mechanism over time. These foods inflame the delicate inner lining of your arteries, the endothelium, and reduce your nitric oxide production. The result? A slow, subtle decrease in your ability to achieve and maintain an erection. In my clinic, I've seen countless men in their 60s and 70s who complain of fading morning wood, loss of confidence, or increasing reliance on pills. And one of the first questions I ask is, what do you eat for breakfast? Often, their answers point directly to this category. The fix isn't hard. Swap out processed meats for heart and hormone-friendly proteins, like eggs, wild-caught salmon, or nuts. Within weeks, many patients report firmer erections, better energy, and even improved blood pressure. Small changes, big impact. 2. Sugary breakfast cereals, the healthy start that hijacks your hormones. It's one of the biggest nutrition myths of the last 50 years, that a bowl of cereal is the ideal way to start your day: quick, light, and heart healthy. Walk down the cereal aisle of any grocery store, and you'll see the illusion in full color. Shiny boxes boasting whole grain, low fat, high fiber, and fortified with vitamins. It feels like you're doing the right thing. But here's the hard truth most men over 60 don't know. These cereals are silent saboteurs of your testosterone, whether it's Raisin Bran, granola, cornflakes, or those fiber-packed clusters. Most cereals, yes, even the so-called healthy ones, are loaded with sugar, often more than a chocolate bar. Worse, the sugar is cleverly disguised under names like evaporated cane juice, maltodextrin, or natural fruit concentrate. When you pour that cereal into a bowl and top it with skim milk, you're setting off a metabolic chain reaction that affects your hormones for the rest of the day. Blood sugar spikes, insulin surges, and testosterone plummets. Why does this matter? Because testosterone isn't just about sex. It's the hormone of vitality. It fuels your energy, sharpens your mind, regulates your metabolism, and yes, powers your erections. When you suppress it consistently with sugar and carbs, your body starts to store belly fat, your motivation crashes, and blood flow to key areas like your penis slows to a trickle. I had a patient named Gerald, 68, retired school principal. He was doing everything right by conventional standards. Every morning, he ate a bowl of bran cereal with skim milk and a banana. But he was exhausted. His sex drive had disappeared. His morning erections were gone. Blood tests confirmed his testosterone was in the basement. We removed the cereal, added in a high-protein breakfast with eggs, avocado, and some berries, and encouraged healthy fats like olive oil. Within 3 weeks, his energy rebounded, his mood lifted, and to his delight, his morning would return something he thought was gone for good. The solution is simple: ditch the boxed breakfast. Instead, opt for real, nourishing food that stabilizes blood sugar and fuels your hormones: eggs, Greek yogurt, full fat and plain, nuts, seeds, vegetables, and healthy oils. These are the building blocks of vitality for men over 60. Breakfast shouldn't taste like dessert. It should taste like strength. 3. White bread and bagels. The silent saboteurs of circulation. A toasted bagel with cream cheese. A slice of white toast with butter. Sounds harmless, right? Wrong, especially if you're over 60 and struggling with reduced drive or inconsistent erections. These refined carbs are stripped of nutrients and fiber. The moment they hit your digestive system, they convert into glucose, spiking your insulin and triggering a hormonal response that leads to a testosterone crash. Worse, repeated exposure to refined carbs creates insulin resistance over time. And with insulin resistance comes a cascade of problems: arterial damage, inflammation, and fat accumulation around the midsection, all of which choke off the circulation that your erections depend on. One of my patients, a retired firefighter, in his early 70s, told me he felt emotionally flat and had lost interest in intimacy. We looked at his diet and found a daily ritual of toast and orange juice. After removing white bread and replacing it with sprouted grain toast and eggs, he was shocked by how quickly his drive and morning erections returned. This isn't about giving up bread forever, it's about choosing the kind of carbs that work with your hormones, not against them. 4. Store-bought orange juice. A glass of liquid sugar that crashes your manhood. There's something nostalgic about a glass of orange juice in the morning. The bright color, the tangy sweetness, the feeling that you're doing something good for your body. But let me be brutally honest, for men over 60, that innocent-looking glass of juice is one of the worst things you can start your day with, especially if you care about your testosterone, blood flow, and sexual vitality. Here's the problem: commercial orange juice, yes, even the kind labeled 100 juice, has been stripped of almost all fiber. What's left is a concentrated blast of fructose, a form of sugar that your liver has to process quickly, often turning it into fat if it's in excess. That fructose goes straight into your bloodstream, causing a sharp spike in blood sugar and insulin levels. This insulin surge is like throwing cold water on your hormonal fire. It triggers a drop in testosterone, increases systemic inflammation, and sets off oxidative stress that damages your blood vessels, particularly the tiny ones that feed the penis. Remember, erections depend on blood flow. The penis has some of the smallest arteries in the male body. When these vessels are compromised by sugar, the result isn't immediate, but over time, the damage accumulates. The morning erections fade, your desire drops, and fatigue creeps in, slowly, silently. I once worked with a patient named Ron, 70 years old, active and sharp. He didn't drink soda or eat desserts, but he had one habit he held onto: a big glass of OJ every morning for immune support. When I explained what that juice was doing to his blood sugar and testosterone, he was shocked. We replaced his morning drink with water and lemon juice, added a pinch of sea salt for minerals, and gave him a few slices of avocado for sustained energy. Within a few weeks, Ron told me something had changed. His belly fat was shrinking, he had more focus, and his intimacy with his wife felt his words like it used to. If you're drinking orange juice because you think it's natural, think again. A real orange, eaten whole, has fiber and slows sugar absorption. But orange juice? That's just sugar water in disguise. What to do instead? Start your day with water, lemon water, green tea, or even diluted pomegranate juice, which actually supports nitric oxide production and blood flow. If you want to drink something that boosts your manhood, not blocks it, skip the juice and go natural. 5. Donuts, muffins, and breakfast pastries. The morning indulgence that starves your performance. These soft, they're sweet, they pair perfectly with coffee, and they're absolutely toxic for your sexual health. Donuts, muffins, toaster pastries, cinnamon rolls. These are not breakfast foods, they're dessert disguised as convenience. And if you're over 60, eating these for breakfast is like pouring sludge into the engine of a classic car and wondering why it won't run right. Let's break down what's really happening when you eat one of these sugar bombs. Refined flour digests quickly and spikes blood sugar. Added sugars cause insulin surges that crash your testosterone. Trans fats and processed oils inflame your blood vessels and lower nitric oxide production. Official additives and preservatives create metabolic confusion and contribute to insulin resistance. That's a quadruple threat to your manhood every single morning. I had one patient, Walter, 72, who faithfully started each day with a blueberry muffin and a large coffee. He wasn't overweight, didn't smoke, and walked daily, but he came in deeply concerned. "Doc, I haven't had a solid erection in months." When we reviewed his labs, his testosterone was low, his triglycerides were high, his blood sugar was elevated, and his blood pressure was creeping up. The root cause: chronic inflammation and hormone disruption fueled in part by his beloved muffin. We removed the muffin, added a protein-packed breakfast, eggs, sautéed greens, some turkey or nuts, and changed nothing else. Within a month, his energy improved. 2 months later, his erections returned. Breakfast pastries may seem harmless, but when eaten consistently, they set your metabolism on fire in all the wrong ways. They inflame your arteries, spike your insulin, cause fat storage, especially around the belly, and reduce blood flow where you need it most. The worst part: the damage builds quietly. You may not notice the effect on day 1, or even month 1, but 6 months, a year, 2 years later, the lights start to dim. And it's not just about intimacy, it's about your identity as a man. Trade the pastry for power. Choose real food. Choose strength. 6. Margarine and hydrogenated oils. The artificial spread that's blocking your blood flow. There was a time around the 1980s and 90s when margarine was hailed as a miracle, a modern, healthier alternative to butter. It was marketed as cholesterol-free, heart-friendly, and progressive. But as science has caught up with that claim, we now know the real truth. For men over 60, margarine may be one of the most dangerous things you can put on your toast. Unlike natural fats that your body knows how to process like olive oil, avocado, or butter, margarine is industrially manufactured. It contains trans fats and hydrogenated oils, two of the most artery-damaging substances ever approved for human consumption. These man-made fats are designed for one purpose: shelf life. But they come at the expense of circulatory life. Yours. Here's what happens in your body. Trans fats inflame the inner lining of your blood vessels, the endothelium, producing nitric oxide, the molecule responsible for dilating arteries during an erection. They raise LDL bad cholesterol and lower HDL good cholesterol, increasing the risk of cardiovascular disease. They contribute to plaque buildup in small arteries, including those in the penis. Why does this matter? Because erectile function is one of the first things to suffer when blood flow decreases. Unlike heart attacks, which are sudden, erectile dysfunction is often the first sign of vascular damage. It's the canary in the coal mine. I remember a patient, Doug, 68, who came in worried about his failing erections and chronic fatigue. He was eating clean, or so he thought, but his morning toast was slathered with margarine, and he used vegetable shortening to cook. We removed those fats, replaced them with olive oil, grass-fed butter, and avocado, and added more omega-3s to his meals. Within a month, his blood pressure dropped. Within 2, his morning erections returned. The lesson is clear. If it's fake fat, it's fake fuel. Your body needs nourishing, hormone-supporting fats to build testosterone and support vascular function. Margarine may look harmless. It may spread easily, but underneath that pale yellow sheen is a recipe for disaster, especially for your manhood. 7. Flavored yogurt. The sugar-coated trap that's feminizing your hormone yogurt is often seen as the safe choice. It's light, it's smooth, it's marketed as gut-friendly, protein-rich, and low in fat. But what many older men don't realize is that most flavored yogurts are nutritional Trojan horses, especially dangerous to your testosterone. Let's unpack why. First, most flavored yogurts, those with fruit on the bottom, vanilla swirl, or blueberry bliss, contain 15 to 25 grams of sugar per serving. That's more than a scoop of ice cream, and it's often combined with thickeners, emulsifiers, and artificial sweeteners that wreak havoc on your metabolism. That sugar spike causes elevated insulin levels, which suppress testosterone, increased belly fat, which converts testosterone into estrogen, greater risk of insulin resistance, which leads to inflammation and vascular damage. But that's not all. Many yogurts are made from milk sourced from hormone-treated cows or contain soy-based additives, both of which can increase estrogen levels in men. And remember, estrogen isn't just a female hormone, it exists in men too. But when it rises out of balance, it leads to fatigue, low libido, erectile dysfunction, and emotional instability. I've seen it over and over: men who eat light yogurts daily thinking they're being smart, only to show up in my office feeling tired, foggy, and disconnected from their masculine energy. I worked with a gentleman named Alvin, 71, who had replaced his eggs with gut-friendly yogurt. Every morning, his testosterone levels were below normal, and his estrogen was slightly elevated. We made one simple swap: full-fat, plain Greek yogurt topped with some berries, chia seeds, and walnuts. 6 weeks later, Alvin reported better energy, more clarity, and a surprising improvement in bedroom performance. Here's the takeaway: don't let light, low-fat, or fruit-flavored fool you. If it comes with a label full of words you can't pronounce, it's not helping your hormones. Choose foods that support your masculine chemistry. Your body and your partner will thank you. 8. Conclusion: you're not too old. You've just been misled. Know that you've seen it laid out plainly, and honestly, you can never unsee it. The bacon you loved, it inflames your arteries. That cereal you thought was heart-healthy, it crashes your testosterone. That glass of juice, that pastry, that margarine spread, each one is a nail in the coffin of your sexual vitality. But I want you to hear this clearly, from a doctor who's worked with thousands of men in your shoes. You are not broken. You are not past your prime. And you are definitely not powerless. What you've been experiencing, fatigue, lower desire, weaker erections, is not just getting older. It's the cumulative result of decades of misinformation, marketing, lies, and silent habits that sabotage your hormones and circulation every morning. But the solution is not complicated. It doesn't involve dangerous drugs or invasive procedures. It starts with something as simple as reclaiming your breakfast. Choose real food. Fuel your testosterone with protein, healthy fats, fiber-rich carbohydrates, and anti-inflammatory nutrients. Ditch the sugar, ditch the fake fats, ditch the processed poison dressed up as health food. When you do, you're not just changing what's on your plate, you're changing the trajectory of your health, your energy, your confidence, and your connection with your partner. And I've seen the results with my own eyes. Men who haven't felt desire in years rediscovering intimacy. Men who thought they were igniting the fire inside. Men who believed they were too far gone finally feeling like themselves again. Your best years aren't behind you, they're waiting. And they start not with a miracle, but with your next meal. If this article gave you clarity, strength, or even hope, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below and let me know what food shocked you most. And if you haven't already, follow this channel for real, science-backed advice for men who want to age like warriors, not victims. You deserve a strong heart. You deserve clear focus. You deserve lasting intimacy. And it all starts with what's on your fork tomorrow morning.